As far as some of the things that we really like about ProductPoint and the way it works for us now, we can search by name or part number, so you've got a description that you can use to search by. We do like the ability to automatically lock ProEngineer objects so that as soon as you start to design, make a change or modify on something, it locks it so no one else can make a change to it. And then we also like the ability to purge the in-work objects so that as we release an object, we can purge all of the old versions out of our database and kind of keep things cleaned up a little bit more. Another thing that we like is the version history. At any point, you can select on an object in ProductPoint. You can see all of the versions, and if you add comments, you can see exactly what you changed or modified and who made those changes to each of those objects. Another thing that we like is the thumbnails. So as you're looking inside ProductPoint, as you move your mouse over one of the icons, you see a thumbnail pop up on that object, and so it makes it a little easier to know for sure that that's the exact object that you want to open up and that you're not picking someone else's object. The other thing that we like is the ability to find out where an object is used. So again, you can select on an object, say, tell me where it's used, and it will bring up a list of any place that particular object is used, whether it's in an assembly or in a drawing. Another thing that we've found out that works really well for us is that you can open an object in ProEngineer either by typing in a part of the name, the description, or the part number. So on our server, if we type in the word base, then anything that has the word base in the actual ProEngineer file name or in the description will show up in this list, and then you can choose which one of those that you want to open at that period of time. Another thing that's pretty handy is to get a listing of all of the objects that are locked. You can select that drop-down box. You can say, show me the objects that are locked by me, or show me all of the objects that are locked, and in that way you can find out if someone has an object that you need to modify and need to go talk to them and see if you can change it. Another thing that we started using is the little part wikis, and within that you can type anything that you want to as far as design notes, engineering notes, manufacturing notes, whatever, and then that information stays with that part or drawing or assembly. And so in this case, I had a spring that we had ordered from a company, so I put the actual spring part number and who we ordered it from, and so at any point in time, if anyone selects on that spring, they'll know exactly where it came from. Another thing that we've done is we changed the synchronization so that every time that you store a ProEngineer object, it does not automatically get synchronized up to the ProductPoint database. We changed ours so that it synchronizes manually. So you might save your part as you're working on it, every hour, every 15 minutes or whatever, and then that way it doesn't clutter up your ProductPoint database. And then at the end of the day, at lunch or whenever, you can say synchronize manually. You can click on that synchronize button, and then it will automatically synchronize up to ProductPoint, so you get the data that you want up there, and that any of the other users on the system at that point can see the latest version of the object that you're working on. Another thing that's pretty handy is a visual report. So when you go to the main page for any project, you can have this visual report showing, and at that point you can tell it to show you the state of the object, which objects or which parts or whatever are either released or in work. You can have it show you who's modified what part or who's locked parts, and so it's just a real quick visualization way to find out exactly what's going on with your project. Another thing that we've enjoyed using on this thing is the ability to view the model structure. And so what you can do is, if you select on an assembly, it can be top-level assembly, it can be a sub-assembly, you can tell it to show the model structure, and it will give you an indented breakdown of all of the components that make up that assembly. So you can see parts, you can see sub-assemblies, you can see drawings, and it makes it pretty easy to see the total structure of your projects. And then along with that, you can export your BOM list to an Excel spreadsheet. And so what we do is we have created a custom setup. So when we export an object out for the assembly, we can send it to our customer, and then they in turn can take that and read that into their MRP system to load it up. And it makes it pretty handy to not have to do that stuff manually.